I'm definitely for using tools that we can accelerate our housing development within our county. I just think that we need to ensure that we get a return on investment to the community. I would definitely love to see our county residents feel like they're not getting their tax dollars taken away, right?
Welcome to the CCC News Podcast. Today we have the pleasure of bringing John Grant in for an interview. John is running for Wasco County Commissioner, position 1, and he's in a heavy field. We got a lot of candidates for running for that position, and so voters in Wasco County have a crowded and competitive race in the upcoming May 19th primary election, with 7 candidates running for 2 different seats on the Wasco County Commission Board, all at kind of a turning point for the county's future. There's a lot kind of going on. So today we're interviewing John, and Grant enters the race with a background rooted in local business, military service, and community involvement. He's 38 years old and lives in Wasco County with his wife and 2 sons. That's awesome. John Grant is also a Wasco County Commissioner candidate with a background in business, military service, and local civic involvement. He currently works as a brewery and independent brand representative with previous experiences as a sales manager and retail manager. Earlier in his career, Grant served in the U.S. Navy as a CB. Thank you for that, John.
My pleasure. Working
as an equipment operator and a supervisor. Grant has been active in the Wasco County community through a range of volunteer and leadership roles. His public service includes time on the North Wasco County School District Budget Committee, the City of the Dalles Planning Commission, and the Wasco County Republicans, where he serves as the current chairman. He has also been involved with the Dalles Area Chamber of Commerce and currently coaches youth sports, where he has been giving his time for more than a decade. He's a member of the Confederated Tribes of the Colville Reservation, and John emphasizes community connections and relationships with state and federal lawmakers. His campaign highlights support for local businesses, long-term economic growth, and maintaining open communications between county leadership and residents. That's quite a resume, John. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Wow. A lot of coaching. You've been dedicated to the youth for baseball, I believe, and
baseball and football. There's never a shortage of positions to volunteer for in our youth sports programs. So it takes a lot to get all of these programs off the ground, and it's a very enjoyable experience to see the kids develop and learn on leadership and teamwork, and watch their confidence just really skyrocket.
Excellent. So. Yeah, and you have 2 sons, so maybe you coach them a little bit?
Yeah, I coach my youngest right now, so I went through pretty much everything. I got a high schooler at the moment, so he's a freshman, so I went through all the sports programs with him. He's into wrestling now, so he's doing fantastic with that, and I just... So now I'm starting back with the younger guys.
Yeah, great.
So I get that 7-year-olds and working my way back up.
Excellent. Well, thank you for all that commitment, John, and best of luck with that and to your sons in their upcoming seasons. And hey, let's just start rolling into the questions. So the first topic is housing, and housing costs and limited supply are repeatedly cited as one of the county's most urgent problems. It's not hard to go out and find a community member who doesn't know somebody or hasn't themselves struggled with finding housing here in Wasco County. So a proposal has been floated for the county to help finance projects such as Mary Hanlon's Basalt Commons, which was going to be a 114 unit building that would be down there on the old Griffith Motors site. Mm-hmm. through a loan or a similar tool. Would you support the county using public financing tools such as loans, guarantees, or revolving housing funds to accelerate projects like Basalt Commons?
I'm definitely for using tools that we can accelerate our housing development within our county. I just think that we need to ensure that we get a return on an investment to the community. I would definitely love to see our county residents feel like they're not getting their tax dollars taken away, right? I think it's, on that, I would never want to see somebody making their a profit off of the tax dollars. Yeah. But if we can cut some red tape and make it easier for the processes going forward to develop, I think that's the way that I would want to see how we lean with our toolbox, right? With the county. But I've been on the City Planning Commission during the process for the Mary Hanlon project and the Basalt Commons, and it's definitely I think on one of the decisions we were looking at a conditional use permit for height variance, and with going into Title 10, like that was definitely within the Dalles Municipal Code, and obviously it's on record for my vote was I abstained on the vote because we had a little issue on the length of a conditional use permit from being 12 months to 36 months, and I wasn't necessarily I didn't have a reason to extend it. I think that, taking a look at some of our land use or our codes, we can definitely fix those so we can make it easier for people to develop.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, very good. Not to belabor it, but in regards to, you said you would not like to see any profit made on taxpayer dollars. And so I think kind of the idea is these are kind of like finish line dollars, and I'm not quite sure the amount. I think that's still being figured out. But if that money then came back to the county later on, you would be okay. Am I saying that right? You'd be okay if that money got returned to the county eventually?
That's definitely a good clarifying question. So, if it's something that's going to benefit the county, and it doesn't always just have to mean dollars. Yeah. That if there's a slippery slope that you can get into using some of these tools, and then if you open up, you set a certain precedence of we're going to spend money here, but then we have other developers that want to do the same thing, and it's been on record that we've done projects just like this, and then we could have just an influx of a whole bunch of projects and people wanting to knock on the door, and then that's kind of where we have to have some type of guardrails. And I think in the Mary Hanlon project, we're looking at a purchase of the land and then a lease. I think as long as, because if you spend your tax dollars, you don't want to see somebody else really, you want to see them put to good use. Right.
Public good. Just generally, yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, great. So, and another question in regards to housing. So, what is the single most effective policy lever a county commissioner can pull through zoning or land use changes, incentives, or partnerships to significantly increase affordable housing in the next 5 years? Do you feel like there's one tool in that box or a couple of tools that are really good?
That's, I think there's probably a lot of good options going forward. We got to really try to cut the red tape as much as possible. Really try to get out of the way with, we kind of have some high SDCs, and obviously, planning and zoning, we have a bunch of different, when you take a look at Wasco County, we have two comprehensive plans, right? With our scenic area, and then our area outside of the scenic area. So there's a lot of guidelines that we have to go with.
Okay.
Which can make it very challenging, more so than certain areas within Oregon, and I think that the more we can open it up for people to be able to build, the less stress that we'll see on our residents and our housing crisis that we have.
So to paraphrase that back to you a little bit, maybe so you're just kind of looking at those barriers that would prevent development, maybe, and whether that's either in zoning or
being business friendly.
Okay.
Creating those partnerships with developers, and
Great. Okay. Well, wildfire has been a big issue for the county in the last year or two.
Yes.
More than that, last decade. But the 2025 Rowena fire forced evacuations for thousands of residents and destroyed dozens of structures near the Dalles. Is there any specific investments or policy changes you would prioritize to ensure Wasco County is better prepared for the next large wildfire? And is that evacuation planning, fuel reduction, or infrastructure protection? You have any thoughts on that?
When it comes to that, I know that we have our fire districts, we have our state agencies, federal agencies, and we basically have our experts right. And the best way that I would see is just having good communications. What's evolving as far as our technology, how we can be able to stay current and stay up to date.
Yeah.
I think that we have a good emergency response team. I think, no two fires are going to be the same and impact the same.
Yeah.
So that is, I don't know if policy, making certain policy changes, being reactionary to one fire, which we might come into a completely different situation in the future. But I think that
And the wildfires we've seen in the last few years have all been vastly different. Like Rowena compared to wheat fires or out in the agricultural land further east of the Dalles. Like they're two very, very different types of fire to have to fight and contend with. And
absolutely,
yeah.
And I think when it comes down to running for certain positions, like you never want to have somebody that thinks they know everything, right? I've got the solution. This is. I've always said, I'd rather get it right than be right. And there are experts on these types of fields, and doing the research of how other counties have been able to mitigate their wildfires and some of the policies that they might have put in. Like that's something to take a look at. But I feel like we have a good team in place, and whatever we can do to keep progressing as far as doing something a little bit better. Like, I mean, that's always what we want to see, right? But I think we're doing the best that we can at this moment. So I wouldn't have any one thing that I could really see as a policy change. I don't know if that would be a good idea as far as just being on the outside looking in. I mean, there's going to be some experienced people out there that have their input and have put in their input. and I would probably trust their judgment, right?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. And to segue right into that, so do you have a plan to stabilize long-term funding for rural fire districts so they have the equipment and the staffing necessary to protect remote communities, especially in the wildfire interface? Like a lot of our folks like Rowena, we get a lot of houses amongst a lot of trees and that kind of thing, or folks who are kind of out there. But you have any ideas for that, for rural protection districts?
Well, I mean, we've got quite a few fire districts throughout the county, and I mean, obviously, they're going to be focused in on their own terrain and how they do things. I don't think that there's a one-size-fits-all solution, and obviously, federal grants and state grants, that those are great ways to update and keep with some good equipment and what they need, because obviously they know what they need, right?
Right.
And there's also going to be some of those districts that are going to look towards maybe levies and what type of funding that they need. So I think at a county commissioner level, that might be a little bit outside of the scope. I mean, there's always, I wouldn't say outside of the scope. Let me, I guess, recapitulate. We'd want to ensure that the communications are there and then the resources are there. But as far as making those decisions, those boards, they're going to want to make those decisions,
right,
within their own community.
That makes sense. Yeah. And so again, going to the smaller boards, the small districts like Pine Grove and Thule, they're facing aging infrastructure and regulatory complexity in like water districts, right? So do you have a specific role the county should play in helping the water districts in securing funding or technical expertise or long-term sustainability for drinking water systems?
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of grants that are out there for those types of rebuilding those water infrastructures, and there's not only just federal grants and state grants, but there's certain loans that are in place for those specific reasons, and making sure that I know that is a big issue in the Southern County. And I know that in previous meetings that has been brought up, and I think that is something that the county is looking to try to help with, and I think that we should definitely assist them in helping with them with those grants, right?
Okay. Those are grants for like preparation or getting rid of extra fuels in the area or things like that, or
for the water.
Excuse me. Yeah, I'm getting lost. Yeah, water. No,
no problem. No, yeah. There's
cut that.
There's water infrastructure grants. I mean, there's probably at least 3 or 4, no, probably actually more than that. There's a good amount of grants that are out there that are either state funded or federally funded that are specifically for those, for those uses.
Water districts. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Hey, I'm going to talk a little bit about data centers now. So,
there we go.
Google's data centers have become the country's largest largest taxpayer and major economic force. I believe the last data center that came online in this last negotiation, they just paid $9.8 million in fees and property taxes. $5.75 million of which was split between the county and the city as gap funds, money that's not earmarked for anything, and meaning therefore that the county and the city could use it as they please. How should Wasco County balance the economic benefits of large industrial investments like data centers with concerns about water use, infrastructure demands, and transparency and tax incentives?
We definitely need to take a look at our what we're using, for those data centers. So, I mean, we want to make sure that we look towards the future, and it's going to be sustainable for our county. I think that some of those funds need to go into that restructure. We've got some different options that are on the table that are on a federal level, and as long as we continue moving forward with our comprehensive plan or comprehensive plans, two of them within the county, just for being able to grow. Because it's not just going to be the data centers. Like, we're going to be looking towards the future on where Wasco County is going to go, and even we're vastly different than what we were 20 years ago, right? So as far as our economy and our land use and how our day-to-day lives within Wasco County. So, and our technology is accelerating so much faster. And so, we might even 5-10 years might be just something completely just mind-blowing to us at this moment. So being able to pivot and use those funds in ways that we can be really nimble as far as what direction we're going to go, I think it's going to be very important.
Makes sense. What about the concerns about water use?
I think as far as water use, that's a concern, of course. Each year sometimes it's kind of up in the air, right?
Right. Like this year, our snowpack is 30% of what's normal, and next year it could be 120. You just kind of hard to tell what's.
Yeah. Welcome to the gorge, right?
Yeah.
I think, that's kind of taking a look into the crystal ball. I think creating as many options as we possibly can to facilitate that, right? To, I know the city of the Dalles has been looking into another watershed possibility, and I know that there's been some holdups when it comes to that bill that we have in back east, right? But I definitely see that we there's definitely a need there, and that's
very good. Okay. So Wasco County faces the challenges of diversifying beyond a few large employers. That's always right. You always want to diversify and have a stable source of economy, if you will. What specific industries or economic sectors should the county actively recruit or invest in over the next decade to strengthen long-term economic resilience? Do you like, if you look into your crystal ball, are there some sectors out there though that you think Wasco County should be pursuing?
Oregon as a whole, we've kind of really have moved into, the workforce has moved into either government or hospitality. I would definitely like to see a diverse, to be able to diversify our work force and our economy within Wasco County. But that's going to really come up with building relationships and selling people on the Columbia Gorge and Wasco County as a whole.
Yeah.
So, we've got a beautiful area, and I don't really think anybody has the trains that we have. We're going from anywhere from Mosier, all the way down to Maupin to Shantico and Antelope. It's just such different terrain.
Yeah.
And even when we take a look at 2020 to now,
right?
People are, people that were in brick and mortar aren't there anymore. There's so many people that are working from home these days and working remote, and people are moving out into different areas because they don't have to be in certain cities and going into the office at all times. And that's gonna take some take a long look at how we use our buildings, right? So yeah, I mean, as far as looking into that crystal ball, there's got to be new ways and innovative ways to think, so we can. I mean, we're looking 5-10 years from now. We've got a lot of things going in the technology industry that is just unbelievable.
It's so fast. I mean, it was just, I hear what you're saying. For example, I mean, we weren't in existence up until 2020, right. And all this modern technology, Google and our ability to cloud source and all that kind of stuff, like, it made this business possible, which, 23 years ago, I was, working at a newspaper, with 8 other people. And like, it's crazy how fast it's changed. You're absolutely right.
I mean, like, I used to, when I was like 17 years old, and I worked at a grocery store, I'd come in and I would grab a newspaper, I'd sit down and I'd read it, and, I would take a look at, all different sorts of things. And it's like, now it's much less, like, you get everything online, and everything is what is available to you, like, right now.
It's a bit overwhelming.
You're people are getting things that are delivered straight to them at a fast pace. And I couldn't imagine this, even like phones. I grew up without having a cell phone. I didn't have a cell phone until, I was an adult. And it was, now I could, if I don't have one, I'm like, how am I going to survive the day? Like,
to live without it.
It's like, man, I got my schedule on here. And it's just one of those really, it's like a whole entire just shift. And it's getting faster and faster. So, I definitely want to see, I think what's going to benefit Wasco County is how agile that we can be when it comes to recruiting businesses into the area and keeping open, because if we focus on certain markets, right, those markets can come and go so fast. Like, there might be something that completely takes them out.
Right.
It used to be that you used to go have a movie theater or have Blockbuster, like those type, a movie rental place, like, and you don't see those anymore. No. Because it's all streaming right from home. So,
Yeah. Well, I know we touched on this a little bit ago, but in regards to those GAP fund dollars coming into the county, which is millions in Google payments, which could be, but how should they, like, do you have any, it didn't sound like you had any specific ideas on how that money should be spent. You sounded more like we need to watch it and we need to be able to pivot, but did you have any specific ideas on, investments that the county should be, making in the next year or two?
I mean, if we can take, some of those funds and figure out how to alleviate some of the property taxes when some of those taxes come off the books, right? And maybe alleviate some of the SDC's charges, and just make it to where we got, the middle income, the middle class family, it's easier for them. If we can take some of those funds, then, we can get more of an influx of building a strong middle class within Wasco County, just because, like I was saying, there's a lot of remote workers out there, and, we live in a beautiful place, 300 days of sunshine. And, I think that going to, looking at maybe a school bond might be able to pass, right? And if we alleviate some of those stresses.
That was perfect, because that segues into my last question. No, I'm sorry, I cut you off there for a second.
No, you're fine.
Okay, great. Well, do we need a new high school in the Dalles, and what should the county's role be in the school district's push for a new high school? So you kind of half answered that question just a second ago.
I think that would be, I think the reduction and some alleviating some of those tax dollars and some of those SDCs will directly impact a bond that is passable, and as opposed to putting on a bond on top of what we're paying already. Because some people that are retiring or are retired, they have fixed incomes. There's only so much that they can do, and
I think that's what killed the bond the last time around. It was close. It was 300 and some odd votes, 375 maybe or somewhere in there. But
yeah.
I do think it was the fixed income folks who just couldn't afford to add to their tax load.
Right. And, that's something that we really have to take a look at. And, because I know that there's people that have moved out of this county before just due to some of the taxes and building in different areas. So, I want to focus in on, being business friendly and being friendly for our middle class. Because, if we're able to do those things, we can definitely recruit a lot of business. But also having good schools throughout the county is extremely important because, we want to present to the outside people that want to move in this area, the professionals that, will be taxpayers within our county. We want to ensure that they feel comfortable by moving here, right? If I'm moving to a different area I would be thinking about safety. I'd be thinking about the schools and my kids. It's going to be the economy. A lot of those things, would be at the forefront of myself moving into those areas. I think that needs to be a primary focus is how can we build that strong middle class?
Huh. Very good. Very good. Well, thank you, John. Excellent. Appreciate your answers and coming in and doing the interview today. And
absolutely.
Best of luck on the campaign trail.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. All right. We'll see you out there.
All right. Thank you.
You bet.